thank you so much for stopping by my channel, Finding America. It was really great to see you. Well, on this video, Chris and I decided to do a little bit of flying by the seat of our pants hunting. And we picked a town in East Tennessee, and we traveled over there and went all over town all day long just detecting where we could. And as a result, we made some really great finds, and we learned some interesting things about our country's history. In particular, one man who brought the entire nation comfort. So I hope you enjoyed this video. We had a blast digging up these finds and learning a little bit about our country. And it's just what I like to call Finding America. Well, it is Sunday morning. Chris has already dug 3 Wheaties. This is his third.
3 or 4?
I don't know. What'd you
28S.
Ah, cool.
This has got some age to it. The other ones were 40s, 50s.
Yeah, that's a pretty good year in mint mark, that's for sure.
It's just so loaded with nails in there. This wasn't even that deep.
No.
But it just barely gave a beep.
Well, Chris called me over and what'd you say you got on that Equinox?
It was 25.
25. You got dug down, not too deep. You got a little ring. That's pretty cool.
Looked like it said love or cove. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to get it cleaned up. Looks like it might have something on it. Little copper ring. But pretty cool. And we'll see what comes up next. Well, I got a nice 1240 signal and dug my plug and it was still in the bottom of the hole, so I took some dirt out and you can probably see it. But that's a good find because that's an early Model T valve stem cap for an old Ford Model T. And where we're at, well, not only next to the road, but we're in a pretty modern looking park. Most people wouldn't even think there was anything here, but I spent some time on the old maps and there were 3 or 4 houses where this new park is now that were here in back in 1935 on the oldest map. So we're out here seeing if we can find some old stuff, and so far we have that ring and we have the Model T valve stem cap, so pretty good sign so far. Now this next find is a great example of why I named this channel Finding America. Sometimes an innocuous find reveals a little bit about our American history and the amazing people that helped build our country. Well, I got a big, huge signal. I sunk the shovel down, popped it up, and out popped this. Kind of cool. Big valve, or a trap or something. But that was kind of cool. It says Webster Sylphon Trap, and then Camden, New Jersey. I just kind of like to look these things up and see what the heck they are. It's probably some piece of a plumbing trap or something. But if it's anything interesting, I will let you know. I found out it's a steam trap to a heating system. I also found out the company was founded by Warren Webster all the way back in 1888. And he started off with a small shop in Philadelphia with just a few employees. I have a photograph of his shop that I'll show you right now, and he's standing second from the left. Now he started off in that store building ventilators and making brass castings, and he soon acquired a first-rate reputation for workmanship and quality. Now one day while working at the shop, a man came in off the street and he had some patents that he wanted to sell because he said he didn't have the money to pursue them. Now Warren did buy a couple of those patents, and one in particular gave him an idea about making a far superior and more economical heating system using steam. Now up to that point, multi-story buildings were heated by huge fireplaces, and of course that was highly inefficient. Now Mr. Webster also made a deal with people that if they would give his system a try, he would install it free of charge and give them 60 days to decide whether they wanted to keep it or not. He famously always said, I never had to pull one of those out. And by 1938, over 75,000 buildings in the United States had a Webster heating system in them. And we're talking about homes, schools, churches, and famous buildings like the Waldorf Astoria. Every single building at Notre Dame campus, and even in the Empire State Building. Well, Chris called me over. He had something really kind of cool. Both of us have been digging mason jars about 12 inches deep, so we were expecting another one.
It was the same signal.
Yeah.
I had to pry it out. I mean, that thing is...
Yeah, it's 12, 14 inches down. And then you got this pot metal piece with this winged ornament on it. I'm thinking it's automotive. I don't recognize it. I don't recognize the emblem. It could possibly, be off a fridge, I guess, but it is chrome-plated pot metal.
If those wings weren't on there, that would have just gone right in the trash pile.
Yeah, but that is neat.
Holy cow.
So, very cool piece. Definitely, I would definitely put it at
30s?
Yeah, probably 30s. That's what I'm thinking. But let me give you a close-up of the...
I wiped off those wings. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is neat.
Cool find, man.
Yeah.
This little modern little park is paying off.
Yeah, it is.
No, Chris called me over. He got a pretty cool find, man.
U.S.
Nice.
What do you say it was? Collar disc?
Yeah, looks like a collar disc.
It's clean and nice.
Very cool.
Neat. It's off center.
Yeah, it is. Huh. Very nice military collar disc. And, yep, here's the stud. That's how they lost it. Stud broke.
Snapped right off, huh?
It's part of the wind noise. We had a pretty good storm roll through last night, and it's pretty windy today. But that's a great find, man. What did I bring up on the Equinox?
21. It was kind of choppy, but that finally settled on 21.
Very nice. Well, got a pretty deep 1240 signal, which is normally a wheat penny, and it was way down. It was about 7-8 inches, and yep, it was right. It is a wheat penny, and it's a pretty early one, 1937. So happy with that. Well, got a pretty neat target here. Got a 1222, which is your typical pull tab signal. Had to go down about 8 inches under this big root and pry it from the side. It was directly under the root, and I finally got it out. Very old, early padlock, heart-shaped, little small skeleton key went there. Still got some of the plating on this backside. That is awesome. The hasp is there. Might actually have some writing on this side, but very thin. Look at that. That is just a cool piece. Yeah, I like that. That is very cool. Well, I heard Chris yell silver, so that's always a welcome thing to hear.
Popped right out there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think we can tell what that is already.
Whoop, I broke it. Oh, yeah.
Oh, Rosie?
Mr. Roosevelt.
What you got there for a year?
58.
Hey, we'll take that.
6 years we made it, huh?
Yeah.
Let's see if it's it is a D. Holy cow.
Well, I'm glad you're happy about that Denver mint right there, buddy.
I'll take it. That's neat.
Heck yeah. All right, man. Well, that's a welcome sight.
See if there's a big brother.
Yeah. All right. I'm ready for a silver now.
Yeah.
Well, Chris just found something I've never seen. It's cool as all get out. I really like this.
I have no clue.
Some kind of lid.
There's a car there.
It's got an old 30s race car and an old 30s airplane. And we have to assume a 30s train.
It looks like a bullet train or something.
Some kind of, and then some nice detail around the edges, and I don't know. It's a very thin aluminum. It's stamped, very light.
Yeah, very light.
And Chris is was glad he didn't put his digger through it. But very cool piece. Can't wait to get this cleaned up and give you a better look at it. Dude, that's my favorite find of the day so far.
It's just so weird. That doesn't look like anything's going to be on the bed.
Yeah, and luckily he stabbed the backside.
Yeah.
Not the front.
Popped the train out a little bit further.
Very, very cool. Well, I got a pretty nice signal here. Ring up 1238. Normally that's in the weedy range. And I dug down and I'll let you see it how I saw it there. See if the light is good enough for you to see it, but got a nice early great seal butt. Looks like a coat butt. And it's got the shank a little pushed on the back, but that's an early one. Definitely World War II, possibly World War I. But I'll get it cleaned up, and very cool. I'm very happy with that. I always love finding anything with an eagle on it. Pretty cool find here. I was ringing in about 1243, which is usually a penny dime signal, but it's actually the whole clock gear mechanism. I'm gonna have to get it cleaned up, but it's got this big huge gear here, so I'll get that cleaned up. But that's pretty cool. Chris and I each got a marble. Chris actually got his out of the hole he was digging in, and I made a surface find with mine. I got this one, and Chris got this really cool glass one. It's got an air bubble inside, and I don't know what they're called. When I was a kid, we called those spaghetti marbles. Those are the ones I always wanted when I was a kid. I was like, oh, I'll trade you 3 of these for that one. But very cool, nice marbles. Well, next target was ringing in real strong, 1238, and popped my plug. I closed the plug just so you can see what I saw when I opened the plug. So I opened the plug and yeah, got an old fork. Wow, well, definitely old. Wow, yep, definitely has some pretty nice design on it too. Wow, tell you what, let me, it looks like fern leaves, but I'm gonna get it cleaned up a little bit, and I'll show you what it looks like. Well, it definitely has an unusual design. It's a whole bunch of fern leaves. I was hoping it comes in focus for you, but very cool fork. Pretty fancy. I'll see if there's a maker's mark, and we'll get a picture after I clean it up. Well, Chris called me over. He had, I think he said it rang up like a solid 20 on the Equinox.
It didn't budge.
And
the flatty.
Yeah, you got yourself a flat button there.
Kind of odd for this spot, I think.
Yeah, definitely predates this area, but yeah, pretty cool. Definitely early 1800s.
Maybe there's something else out here. It's got some kind of gilt coming through, or silver wash or something.
Very cool.
Neat.
Well, I got a really nice surprise find. It was ringing like 1236. Not thinking much about it, because it was only like half an inch deep. It was right under the grass, but they moved the dirt around a lot over here. But at 1236, I was thinking it was just going to be a zinc, but I got an Indian head. I was very shocked. That was just after, well, actually I found it coming down to film Chris's button, and did a little bottom feeding and scored.
I was heading right there.
Yeah, sure you were. Well, let me get this tooth picked up, and we'll see what the date is. Very cool. She's got a pretty thick coating on her, so I'm going to have to give it a little bit more clean when I get home, but I'll put a picture up right now so you can see it a little bit better. Well, finding that Indian head was an awesome way to end my day. Now, before you take off, I hope you'll take a minute just to check out the historical photos I have coming up next. And remember, history makes a find a treasure. And we'll see you next week on Finding America.